Good evening, everyone. This is a fun live, really fun live for me to do. I'm going to tag an individual who wanted to be here and share this live to my group to make sure they get this. I'm really excited to do this. All right. Sales, 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 seductive sales. If you are catching the replay, go ahead and say replay in the comments. For those of you that are joining live, my name is Marina. Oh gosh. And welcome to the Seductive Sales Masterclass. This is a super fun one for me. Like I said, I'm going to tag Lynn real quick as I know she wanted to be in here. All right. This was interesting for me to decide upon to do on my personal page, and the reason being is because I know I have a lot of individuals that have been joining my network, and I wanted to introduce myself and what I do, and introduce one of my main geniuses. I have currently an 87% close rate with the people that I invite on sales calls with me for my mentorship services. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Marina, and I'm a business mentor for entrepreneurs of various fields. It used to be spiritual entrepreneurs only, but now it's literally various fields. It's service-based entrepreneurs who are dealing with sales of human to human interaction. So I have everybody from coaches to healers to loan officers, interior designers, birth doulas, pregnancy workers. And I combine spirituality and strategy in all facets of my work and what I do. Hi, Lamorla. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm talking about sales today, as that has been the biggest question that I get asked. And so, like I said, I work with a variety of individuals, and this has been the biggest toughie for people to master is sales. How do I get sales? How do I get people on sales calls? How do I close my sales? How do I convert my sales, etc.? So, like I said, this is more designed for individuals who sell human to human. Hey, Lynn, good to see you. I'm so glad you made it and made it live. That way you can ask questions. I love interacting with you guys, so please feel free to ask me questions throughout. This is a super fun one for me to do because I've been feeling super seductive and have been playing kind of raunchy and sexy music all day, and I got all pretty even though I have windburn. So like I said, for those of you that are new to me, sales pitches and helping people craft their pitches is one of my geniuses, and that is something that I do with my clients. Today I am doing a masterclass for you, so you guys can go ahead and close sales today this weekend, because you probably have people in your field who are ready to work with you. So the reason why I called it seductive sales is because I'm going to be utilizing a lot of, I will be equating a lot of these dynamics to dating in dating relationships, because that's what a mentorship relationship is an intimate relationship that you both agree to enter, both you and another person. Okay, so this is why I'm calling it seductive sales. And I'm going to be covering everything from lead attraction, because I only use organic marketing techniques such as live streams, posts, interactions in groups, or even in-person meetings. That has happened before too. It's more rare in this industry, but it exists. And I actually had a full pay client from an in-person meeting. So the way that you carry yourself, there's no necessarily, I'm eating hair. There's no necessarily, this is the best system that I can teach you of how to be and how to conduct yourself and how to prepare yourself so that your close or conversion rate can be as high as mine, and how to best prepare for it. Okay, so the seductive nature of sales, a lot of people, and especially within the coaching and healing industry, are very empathetic. And I'm speaking specifically to coaches, but if some of you guys here are not, And if you would like me to equate it to your industry, I'd be more than happy to. My last post was about a client who's a loan officer, and I brought out the seductive nature in her to attract more leads. So this is the kind of thing that actually works industry wide, but I'll be specifically talking about coaching. I'll try my best to include other industries so that you guys can see how to apply it in different environments. So whoever is joining, say hi. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the notes that I have. And like I said, the seductive, Haley, good to see you. The seductive nature of sales. Whenever you're selling to a human, their potential, and whenever you are about to enter an intimate dynamic, as you would in a mentorship relationship, there is a seductive nature to it. And the reason being is because these kinds of systems of like just being sold to in coaching and healing industries do not work. As you guys can see, systems, funnels, and traditional like cold, aggressive marketing techniques, they simply just do not work, or they have not for you probably. Your lead generation has been just like spinning your wheels, and your conversion rate is probably really low. And the reason being is because this kind of work is all based on empathy and building relationships. And this is how you end up selling. If you have a natural propensity to be an empath and to understand people, then you are a great salesperson. You just don't know it yet because of how you have been conditioned to think about sales. If you think of it as like a seductive, like, hi, let's hang out, you're cute, then you will start to think differently, and it will not be as much of a pressure. It will be more of like an intimate dynamic, kind of like going on a first date. So first of all, I want to talk about attracting leads. There is a lot of noise within the industry when it comes to lead generation, okay? There's a lot of different methodologies that you can use. There's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook live streams, there's talking on Facebook groups, there's in-person meetings, there's networking events, right? There are a lot of ways to attract leads. And the biggest thing that you have to get through to your mind is that there are leads or potential clients everywhere. Kind of like in bringing it back to seduction. If you're a woman, are you going to think like, oh, there's no men anywhere? They're all around you. Like as soon as you open up your eyes and as soon as you're ready to start dating, you're going to see them all over the place. As soon as you put available on your forehead and you start to put yourself out there, there's going to be men left and right and center all over if you have done the right preparations in order to start dating, which I'm getting to. So the common misconception about attracting leads, there's a lot of noise about like, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And then there's, all the systematic and the strategic approaches to attracting leads. Then on the contrary, there are a lot of schools of thought that tell you you should be a certain way and you should work on your energy and you should embody your seduction. You should embody your natural magnetism. And yes to both. Okay, they both work. Because check this out. If you are a woman who wants to start dating, okay, are you going to just be like, man, I am so sexy and I feel worthy and everything? No, you're going to get pretty. You're going to go on maybe online dating websites. You're going to go out to social gatherings where men hang out. Or if you're a man and you want to attract a woman, you would probably do the same, right? If you feel like you're in a space that you want to date and perhaps start getting into intimate relationships, you're going to go out there and you're going to do the thing. And this is the most common misconception with this polarity of thought of like, let me be in this energy and I don't have to do anything. That's entitlement. And entitlement doesn't get you far as a coach, as a service provider, because you are in a space of service. You are in a space of giving. Like, what can you provide for this relationship and what can the other person provide for you? It's an energy exchange, just like any relationship is. Sure, it's more transactional because it's more intentional, but it's no different. Does this make sense? To those of you that are watching, feel free to ask me questions. Let me know if this is landing with you. I'm going to keep going. The common misconception, right? So making yourself pretty, what does that mean? In the business sense, what you're going to do in order to prepare and make yourself pretty, you're probably going to do a lot of inner work, whether or not you're going on a date or whether or not you're about to start selling. You probably have to do mindset work. You probably have to meditate. You probably have to do some market research. If you are a woman who is about to start dating, you probably have an idea, or at least like a little bit of a market research as to what kind of men are available for you and where to start looking for the men that you want, right? So, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. That's awesome. Let me know if you have any questions. So, whenever you prepare in a business sense, also, additionally, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be setting the standard, which is going to be the next thing I'll talk about, but I'm going to cover this really briefly. You're going to set the standard, right, of what kind of clients you want to work with. Are you going to just take anybody? Like, are you just going to jump into bed with anybody? Absolutely not, because, well, you're not going to get as much fruitful of a relationship out of this, and neither will they. Like, it will just be like mechanical sex, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then the next day it's going to be like full of regret and it's just going to suck. So we don't want that. So imagine this in a business sense, right? Like, quantity is not quality. When you are specific and when you are getting prepared for the kind of leads that you specifically want, okay, you're going to have much more of a fruitful relationship, meaning you're going to be able to deliver results for that client in a lot of a better way because the relationship is going to be a lot more pleasant. I mean, do you want to work with somebody funny or do you want to work with somebody stuffy? Do you want to work with somebody who is not willing to shift? Do you want to work with somebody who's like not willing to grow? I mean, imagine if this was a dating relationship. Would you be willing to date somebody who's not willing to shift and change with life's changes, with your changing body if you get pregnant, with your wrinkles as you get older, with like moving and making money together? There's a lot of shifts and changes, right? So, okay. So you're going to be prepared by doing your market research, of course. Okay, is this making sense, you guys? To those of you that are watching, Lynn, I'm sorry. Let me know if you both have questions. I'm going to keep going about setting the standard and what that means and what kind of preparation you must do. So, of course, you're going to start putting yourself out there once you know the kind of men you want to hang out with, the kind of age. Like, I mean, hopefully you're not just going to go to the bar and just, you know what I mean? It's up to you if that's what you want to do. I'm not judging. I met my boyfriend at the bar. We're still together, but we've grown a lot. We've definitely grown out of that. I don't drink anymore. But, if you have a certain standard of who you want to date, you're going to go to social gatherings where these people hang out. So when it comes to clients, you're going to set the standard on who you want to work with, and you are going to go and make yourself pretty and make yourself open and available. That's the other notion. Because there's a very fine art, and a lot of energetic teachers teach you like, oh, you need to set the standard. And I've come from that school of thought of being like really, really strict with human conversation whatsoever. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to talk to anybody unless they meet my standard. The thing is like there are a variety of people that you can serve right now and that could benefit from your service and that could get amazing results with you. But the point is who do you want to work with? As soon as you start shifting this kind of as soon as you start shifting this paradigm, what's going to happen is you're going to start feeling like, man, I'm really valuable, and I deserve somebody who's going to do the work. I deserve somebody who's going to show up on time for my client calls. I deserve somebody. Okay, just a second. How do you present somebody? How do you present as open and available without overdoing it? Depends on what context. Are you talking about like reach outs? Is there like a specific marketing strategy that you're using? What is it that you're doing in order to present yourself that way? Like, what are you currently doing so that I could let you know if you're being too open? Because we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to appear like desperate or whatever, because that is felt. The biggest notion is when you do this market research and when you figure out reach out or Facebook post. Okay. When you do this kind of market research and when you figure out like a specific intimate need of your clients, you're going to come from a space of service, right? So if you're always coming from a space of service and you know that you can help this person, then you can't really just like overdo it. As far as Facebook reach outs, are you reaching out to them or are they reaching out to you? I'm just sharing my history and how I overcome things. Okay, that's a little too much. Imagine if you were to do this on the first date, Lynn. Okay, like if you were to do this on the first date, they'll be like, "Whoa, lots of baggage there. I don't know if I want to deal with that." So, having said that, I wouldn't recommend sharing your triumph story just yet. Mainly you, but some of them. What needs to happen if you are reaching out first, you need to develop a little bit of a relationship, right? You need to develop a little bit of a relationship before you ask them on a first date. You have to have a little bit of a pre qualifier. Like, is this even a person you want to work with? What kind of business do they have? Start asking questions. I mean, like, imagine if you're on a date with a man and before you ask him on the first date, if you have like a strict rule that you don't want to date somebody with kids or whatever, then you probably may want to ask him if you meet, like, oh yeah, do you have kids? And if he says, like, yeah, maybe it's not something you're ready to deal with at this point in life, and that would just be a no. So you will know where that relationship will go. The best way to do it is to start asking them questions, just like you would on the first date. You're developing a dynamic, you're developing in a relationship, and you're developing an intimate one. Is this making sense? There is a time and a place to share your story of triumph if you want to impress them, if you want to wow them, if they're open to listening. Okay. But if they're not, and if they're just, because here's how, okay, there's a couple of ways that this can go. If you've never ever, if you've just randomly reached out to them, be like, hi, let's start a conversation. A lot of people now are picking up on that and are like, okay, I'm going to be sold to and I'm going to be on guard. Kind of like a woman at a date. If she's like super gorgeous and she has like all these guys hounding her, she's going to be like, oh my God, everybody please fuck off. Like, she's going to be overwhelmed. She's going to be like, dude, everybody's just trying to sell me their dick. Anyway, I hope you guys like my humor, but I'm kind of crass like that. And since this is like seduction and sales, like imagine like this is an intimate relationship that you're about to get into. How would you start this normally? If you Here is like part of my genius is like I get spidey senses about who I feel may or may not be my client and who I feel like I can or cannot help. If I get a really strong spidey sense, like you can gauge of whether or not to come on too strong, but why not stalk their profile? Why not see what they're about first? I mean, are you going to come up to a man at a party and just be like, I overcame all of the shit in my life. What's up? Look at me. No, you're probably going to check him out. You're going to scope the scene around. You're going to be like, damn, he's sexy. I want to talk to him. I like how he carries himself. Oh man, he kind of has a weird habit of smoking or whatever. You're going to scope it out first. Good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it can be pretty crass, but also really funny. I'm glad you like it. So, you're gonna scope it out first, and if you are using the reach out strategy, that's what I would recommend. Otherwise, what I would recommend is the next part is if you do the right kind of preparation, which is a lot of inner work as well as outer work of knowing, hey, that my work is the bomb, and whatever I post on my feed, on my wall or in my group is going to seduce them anyway. So if you will friend them, they're gonna see your content and they're gonna be drawn to you anyway, and they're gonna be, as my mentors say it, they're gonna be trained by your marketing, if that makes sense. They're going to be trained by your marketing as to what you expect. So for instance, like if you are a high maintenance woman who's got her nails done, who's got her hair did and whatever at a party, somebody who perhaps is not quite put together may not even come up to you because you are already being that and you're already exuding that standard of what you desire and what you require in a partner. So the people that don't match that will not even come up to you. Is this making sense? And you have to be that first. Is this making sense, Lynn? Let me know. So the best kind of preparation that you can have for the first date or the first conversation, if you will, now I'm getting to the juicy part. As you're doing these kinds of reach outs, it's all about building relationships. It's all about figuring out, like, is this a person who I want to work with? Is this somebody who I'm going to have great synergy with? Is this somebody that I can help? And I can explain to them how I can help them. This is your next big preparation. So before you go out to a party, you're probably going to get pretty. And this is my coaching method of getting pretty. A lot of my clients, they bitch and moan about it at first, but then they love it. Because what we do is, I call it the weightlifting, where we create your process, like that's unshakable, by which you take your clients through. And that needs to be in place before you ever come up to a person. And it's kind of like before you ever come up to a man and before you're ready to like ask him on a date, you want to make sure that you have a bed to invite him into. You know what I mean? If that's where you want to go with it, you have a container, a space in your heart to invite him into. Does that make sense? I mean, it's an intimate relationship. It's no different. So the kind of preparation in order to set up that kind of bed for your client is to have a container for them that's going to allow them to feel nurtured, that's going to allow them to be supported into where they want to go, into the next version of themselves. Mind you, like I said, the human relationships that are romantic are more kind of on equal ground. Whenever there is a mentor and a mentee relationship, it's slightly different in the sense that there's one person that has a little bit more authority, if you will, and that requires more trust from the other person. So it's more of like a sub and a dom type of a dynamic. Not quite, but essentially, right? And I feel like all of my clients are equals. I am totally stoked about buying their products. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everybody has unique gifts. However, whenever you are placing this kind of value exchange and using money and a contract and a container as a placeholder, it's a slightly different intention here. But the same kind of human relationship of seduction and attraction, the same kind of principles will apply because people have standards about who they want to date, hopefully. People, or unless they don't know what they want, and which is most people in the coaching industry, unfortunately, they don't know what they want, or they don't know what they need. And that's the other big secret, is if you can change their perspective about what they think they need versus what you know they need. I did a market research class on this to find out more in depth about their psychology. And let me know if this makes sense. Say if you're like a cowgirl from Texas, which you are from Texas. If you want to date cowboys, you know how cowboys work. Like, you know what to say to them. You know that perhaps the best way to their heart is through their belly. Like, you'd know how to relate to this specific person. It's no different with a client who is your ideal match that you know so well and that you know how to guide through a certain challenge. And that is your preparation for the party. When you're picking out your dress, when you're, AKA your marketing techniques, when you're picking out, what you're going to wear, etc. Like, that is your preparation, especially within the coaching world. Let me know if this makes sense. I'm going to go ahead to the conversation, or rather the first date, the asking for the first date. So say you have created a relationship with a person, blah, 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 amazing, great. Then comes time to ask them out, to invite them on a call with you, to like get to know you better. And this, this can be done really gracefully. However, this is a pre-qualifier too. If you have a certain standard, like for me, whenever I get people on a call, I always say, you know what, if this makes sense, I will make you an offer. So whenever somebody's like, can I have your phone number? Okay, well, I will ask you on a date. You know what I mean? So once it gets there, once we're there, the reach out for the phone number. So let's see, the first date, the calling or asking people to get on the phone. It is my personal pre-qualifier that I do expect some sort of a financial exchange to happen when we speak. And I do expect a commitment on call. However, whenever I do this kind of reach out, if it's kind of a fresh person, it might be a little too hard and fast for them. However, I have also met people and have never created a relationship with them. They reached out to me and they booked a call because they saw one of my posts and they're like, oh my gosh, will this work for loan officers? She's in real estate. And I'm like, yeah, actually, absolutely. And I got on a call, figured out her needs, And I'm getting to that. It's the exciting part, figuring out the needs and making the right offer. Um, and she was more of like hard and fast type of person, right? Which is fine. I can adapt. I can do that too. I can do slow and steady, or I can do hard and fast. I prefer hard and fast now when it comes to clients anyway. But anyway, so okay. The way to get them on a call, this is one of the pre-qualifiers, like I said, that I have. If somebody's just like, doesn't have a phone, are you gonna be like, yeah, I don't know, that's weird? Or somebody that maybe like still lives with their mom, maybe that's not your standard. This is another way for you to pre-qualify them to see if this is somebody you want to set up the container for. Is this making sense? So whatever, the way I do it is like, hey, if this makes sense, I will make you an offer, but I know I can help you. Like this is gonna like we're setting up the tone of what it's going to be. Kind of like whenever you exchange phone numbers, and then you schedule a time to meet after you exchange phone numbers, it's assumed you're going on a date. So, do you have questions about that? Lynn, Lamorla, Ksenia? Ksenia, I think you're Russian. Or Anne. So, the conversation, the first date. This is my favorite. This is literally my favorite. And this is where the art of seduction really lies, especially if you're a woman, and especially if you're a woman coach or a woman healer or a woman like my client, the loan officer. We just celebrated a huge one with her yesterday, which is why I keep bringing her up. But this is where I remember like one of my mentors, she would always say like the art of leaning back. Imagine like you're sitting at a dinner date on, you don't want to like talk too much. You don't want to tell people about your triumph story right away unless you're asked. But this is an interview. As a woman, are you going to let this man into your bed? And for men, this goes the same way. I mean, I'm sure men have their own games that they play. So you need to do more reaching out. Reaching out, I would recommend it if you have created relationships. If you have created relationships with people, the cold reach outs, if you have live streams, if you have video topics or specific posts that you have made with their problems that you're solving, then refer them to them first. Because whenever you cold reach out and be like, hi, you're cute, you want to hang out? I mean, like, some may go for it, and I can't say that that hasn't happened. That has happened with me before too. But it's all like if you begin looking at sales and sales conversations as these kinds of like relationships, and if you begin looking at them like this, like inviting into an intimate relationship, you will completely change your notion of sales altogether because it will become way less pressured. It'll become more natural. Your true empathic nature and your seductive nature will actually shine. So the sales conversation, yet again, this is your opportunity to pre-qualify them, to ask them questions, to see if you're going to be in synergy. It is assumed that it is a sales call. So at the beginning of each one, like I say that, and I say exactly that. Kind of like, I mean, it's assumed that it's a date. You don't have to do this on the date. Like, hi, we're on a date. That'd be kind of awkward. But on a sales call with this kind of a mentor and a mentee dynamic, like it is important to set that container because now you're interviewing this person to see if you want them in your space. Good. I'm so glad. Perfect. So you're going to want to ask them questions. You're going to want to set the tone. This is where you set the tone and set the boundary of, hey, this is indeed a sales call. I'm going to make you an offer at the end of the call. I'm going to invite you to work with me. But throughout the call, what happens is you see if your gifts and your genius and your offer, that process that you have created, are going to be a match for them. Or if there's certain red flags. And some of the red flags that I personally look out for, like being especially, I used to target more of like spiritual entrepreneurs. And one of the things that recently is like a red flag for me is if people start relying too much on their charts, too much on their stars, instead of making like powerful decisions for themselves and placing that control outside of themselves onto a chart or a spirit guide or whatever, when in fact you are divine. And that's what I have grounded into. And for me personally, I look for quick decision makers. I look for people who are willing and able to send it to get going, because I move quickly, and that's how I've been able to get my success, and that's how I've been able to make my 10K plus months, and that's how I've been able to get my clients results, is through this kind of like quick decisive action of like, okay, yeah, cool. And one of the things I used to abide by is like, let me feel into it. And the longer you like stay there in indecision, the more delays and wobble that it makes for your manifestation, rather than deciding, committing, and doing whatever it takes to get it, to get that man that you want. You know, you're gonna work out, you're gonna do your inner work, you're gonna want to impress him. So the conversation, like I said, this is an opportunity for you to interview them, like what their goals are, what they're excited about, what their comfort zones are, what they will or will not do, and how would you need to tailor your own program for the specific person in front of you, because not everybody's going to need the same kind of process. The weightlifting creation of a program is really important, yes, and every single one of my clients has moved through my program differently, because people process at different speeds. Some people move like quick like me, and I'm just like, sweet, we'll move as fast as you want to move. Amazing, I got you. And some people need more time and more explanation and different learning styles and different teaching styles, and that's fine too. This is your opportunity to find this out. This is your opportunity to gauge and how quickly they're going to get success with your program. This is your opportunity to ask what they're fired up about and how to utilize that in your coaching package with them. Is this making sense? I'm so glad you ladies are getting a lot of value out of this. If you feel like there's people that could benefit from this, go ahead and share this video. This is one of the biggest things that I get asked about, so feel free to share it out, because as soon as you start thinking of like, dude, this is just a conversation, man. It's just a date. Like, how many dates have you flopped? How many dates were just like, well, that was fucking awkward. You know, like, it's whatever. It's fine. And this is your opportunity also to set the tone. And notice how, like, you as a female, usually in a dating dynamic, you get to set the tone. So on a call, you really get to set the tone. You get to take leadership, you get to take charge, because you are the mentor. You get to show this person that, hey, I can show up for you. This is an opportunity for you to reflect to them that you hear them. This is an opportunity for you to calm their fears about getting intimate. Because let's face it, like, even on the first date, we're all like, oh God, we're about to have sex. Oh my gosh. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I always make people wait, but this is, like I said, slightly different. I just like to use this analogy to help you guys ease your whatever the hell conditioning about sales, because it's gotten so dry and like boring, and we're here to help each other, and we're here to help each other succeed, and we're here to hold space for each other. So this is an opportunity also for you to explain exactly how you're going to take them from point A to point B, to calm their nerves, because investment is scary. I mean, you know, like, this is an opportunity for you to show them why they should invest with you into their logical mind, and not just appeal to their emotions. There are a lot of salespeople. I've been in a school of thought that, oh gosh, let's just say she was not the best. She was a very manipulative person, and she went from the school of thought of like utilizing emotional pain and prying people on emotional pain. If somebody's in deep emotional pain, it's one thing if they want to heal and if they take like self-initiative for it. But for me personally, if somebody is in a very deep emotional pain, it can potentially be like a hindrance to how quickly they'll move through my process, or how quickly they would want to willingly shift some of the patterns and willingly heal. because there's a lot of tools that I provide. Like I actually do a lot of energy work with my clients. That's what we start off with. And then we literally would go into ritual and meditation and get clarity and get like a channel as well. And get intuitive guidance. So I'm like, all right, let's figure out your Instagram campaign or whatever. Let's figure out your next offer. Let's figure out your next sale. And literally, usually, the my spidey senses genius comes up where I'm just like, that person, that person. And the other thing too, when you're not yet, like when you're awkward at it, right? I mean, because dating also, it takes a while to become savvy at it, to learn how men are, to learn how different people are, to learn perhaps what is or is not appropriate after being socially punished. Um, Here is your opportunity to disrupt somebody's pattern. I did another masterclass in my group that I recommend both you ladies check out. It's about the ickiness of sales. And I'm going to repeat this here now as the 3 questions that I want every coach, mentor, or service-based provider, loan officer, interior designer, birth doula. I have also, right now she's a coach, she's an author, and she's launching an empowerment program specifically for Muslim women that involves like, I'm awkward still, just beginning. You'll get it. It's fine. And if you ever work with me, we do a lot of sales role play. I actually have a group program, by the way, coming up on February 4th, where we literally start off with process and sales. Like we get you literally into a date right away. And the reason being is because I've gone through so many programs that are slow to get me going. And I'm like, if I want to date men, just like, let's put me in front of men and start dating men. You know what I mean? So that's the notion of the program. It's going to be pretty boot camp style. It's going to be accelerated. It's only going to have everything you need and nothing that you don't. It's how my clients have gotten success and started selling within 8 weeks, going from like 0 to entrepreneurship within 8 weeks. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And one of my clients got 20 leads when she normally gets 2 to 3. And this program is $1,500. I do accept 2 payments of $750. It's going to be intimate. It's going to be 7 weeks long. Starts on February 4th. So go ahead and reach out to me if this is something that interests you. And we can see how we can work it out to get you in. And the other thing that I'm including in it is these sprays, because we're going to do a group energetic dispel. These are made by a peer, a colleague of mine named Lisa Erickson, and she's such an amazing person. So this was her first product called the Migraine Magic, and it's for anybody who's like stuck in their head and has a lot of like energetic density around limiting beliefs, around not opening their channel to the divine guidance and not accepting money or have any weirdness around worthiness. I'm going to be mailing out one of these, and these are $100 a pop. I'm going to be mailing out one of these to each person who joins my group or to anybody now who joins any of my one-on-one programs, because we do a lot of energy work and strategic implementation. So it's going to be pretty holistic too. Like all of my coaching, we look at your relationships. We look at where you're afraid of asking for the date in your everyday life, because the way you conduct yourself in your marketing, the way you conduct yourself in your natural magnetism, the way you conduct yourself in your integrity of what you're willing to do in walking your talk is the way that your clients will show up for you too. So if you're willing to invest in yourself, your clients will too. If you're willing to be a quick action taker, your clients will reflect that to you too. And notice how that is pretty much identical to like men and women relationships. As soon as like we change our tone around being more open-hearted, is all of a sudden, the man like wants to adore us and worship the ground we walk on. So having said that, a lot of this program is going to be teaching about not just how to sales, although like we're going to do live sales role plays. The other bonus that you're getting is my genius of crafting your pitches and your reach outs for you, because each person is going to need a different approach. And that's something that I've done for my clients, to land them sales calls, to land them sales, and to land them objectionless sales. Because when you take this kind of an approach, like there's no reason why the person will say no. They're like, oh my God, you get me. Like you see me and you really took time to get to know me. You really took time to get to know like how I work. You really took time to get to know like how I process shit. You really took time to get to know some of my wounds and like hold space for me here and understand where I'm coming from. And you really took time to think about my specific needs to come up with a journey for me. Fuck yeah. You know, like if your favorite man or the men that you want to date love blueberry pie, you know, like, hey, look, I made you a blueberry pie. One of one of the mentors too, like she one of my old sales mentors, that's how she like said it, and I said it in my market research video, and people just about died at this approach. But anyway, like it literally is that simple. Like it's you're having a conversation with another human and you're showing them how to solve their problem. Let me see what else I have. The talk before the sealing the deal. The talk before like, okay, are we getting into bed or what? This means taking payment. This means contract. This means the onboarding process. My personal standard is like the men that I get intimate with, I ask them to get tested and I ask that they use protection. Like, you know, that's the standard and I will not do it until that happens. So whatever your standard is before getting to bed, you know, like, can you take a shower, please, before we do this? It's essentially that. So you stating that kind of boundary, like, okay, in order to fully onboard you, I need a commitment. So I need a signed contract. So I have people sign a contract whenever we speak. And then I need a down payment because that shows your commitment. That's yet another pre-qualifier. If things come up here, you know, like I do understand certain payment stuff comes up and people are scared of investing. If you have taken this approach up until now, usually people are not so much like, oh, I don't have the money, because they don't see the value and they probably don't give a fuck about you as a coach, but more along the lines of like, man, this is really good and now I need to go come up with the money. And usually those are the kinds of objections that my clients get, that I used to get. And if you take this approach, those are the kinds of objections that you will get. There's another masterclass I did in my group. I did all sorts of masterclasses on sales because that's my genius, called Objectionless Sales. And I pretty much go into depth more about creating a process and market research and everything like that. It's less fun and less seductive like this live stream is. But does anybody have any questions so far? I'm just like rambling on right now. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, be prepared. You'd probably want them to take a shower, you know, if you are ready. If you're ready for this kind of commitment, because like if a man gives his commitment to you, like you can start bearing your soul because he's like, hey, I assure you, like I'm choosing you. Like that's my commitment to you. And I mean, with dating, obviously, this kind of commitment is shown in different ways. With a coaching relationship, the commitment is the deal is sealed with a signed contract and a down payment or a full payment for your program. Because this shows to you that they're committed to like being exposed, to showing you themselves, to trusting you that you're going to take them from point A to point B. And that this shows that you are ready to show up for them as well, to tweak your process as needed, to do client reviews, to assign thoughtful homework, to make sure that you keep them on track and do whatever it is in your power, because this is a 50-50 thing. Like this is a relationship. And that's what a lot of people miss. I feel like this aspect of it, like it's not just about like, here's how you market, here's how you sell. Like, no, how do we relate to this person to help them? Like, that's what it's fucking about. Anyway, sorry. The talk before intimacy, yeah, sealing the deal. You must be clean, you must wear a condom. This is where, like, in the contract, you get to state these rules. What you expect of yourself. And in this level of communication is present within the fetish communities. I've never been into them, but I've spoken with people who were parts of conventions and stuff like that, you know, weird shit that people do. But this level of communication exists within like the weird ways that humans relate. And this kind of like clear everything out on the line, like this is what creates a successful coaching relationship, is this level of intimacy, is this level of openness, is this level of willing and open and honest communication, and this level of initiative on both parties, because we're all human. And yeah, sometimes Mercury is going to be in retrograde and sometimes shit's going to get fucked up. And this is like where you agree to this level of intimacy, to be open, to be honest, to show up for each other 100% no matter what, because you've sealed the deal and you've made the commitment. So some of the reasons as to why this is also hard for people is because people are actually afraid of commitments. This coaching dream has been sold as like six figure this, and yeah, it is. It can be a pretty amazing lifestyle, and at the same time, just like any business, like yes, it's expensive, and it's a commitment not just to your clients but to yourself. Because like at any given single day, if you're PMSing like crazy but you have calls scheduled, you have made the commitment to show up. If you have live streams scheduled, you have made the commitment to your audience to show up, to earn their trust. Because if they don't trust you, how can they trust you in an intimate dynamic for you to show up for them? And this has everything to do with integrity and walking your talk and showing up for yourself, keeping commitments to yourself. Say if you have a commitment to a yoga class twice a week. For me, it's my commitment to snowboarding because I snowboard daily. That's like my meditation. That's what I like. That's me like clearing out my mind. And if I don't snowboard, I know that I'm going to be wonky or whatever. Or even if I can't snowboard, then I go and take a walk outside. I do a meditation, or I cleanse myself with sprays or whatever. Like I do everything in my power, given my circumstances, to not only commit to myself, but also my clients. And the other thing that will make you really successful at selling this way is becoming a student and forever curious of human nature, of human relationships, of human dynamics, of what inspires people. Because you're going to have clients that are going to test your patience. You're going to have clients that don't move at the speeds like you do. Kind of like in a relationship, right? Your patience is going to get tested. And because you're in a certain relationship where there are certain boundaries, where certain things fly and certain things do not fly, like you're not allowed to yell at the person, like you're not allowed to disrespect the other person. You are supposed to be in the role of a mentor or an educator, that you are to find another way for them to move through this challenge, that it is your responsibility to become the best coach that you can be. And that's what's going to make you good at sales. It's just because you know you're the best. It's just because you know your work works, and because you know you have studied human nature. Is this making sense to you? Let me know if this is making sense to you. I'm going to use a quick example of my client Kira that I celebrated with her yesterday. She got 20 leads in 3 weeks, going from like tumbleweeds of December, and she's in real estate. And in real estate, especially being a loan officer or a realtor, they struggle with the same kind of challenges that the coaching industry struggles with, which is how do I get more leads? How do I get more clients? I keep on messing with crystals, you guys. Check out my labradorite egg and my little quartz. So I keep holding my crystals. So for her, what had happened was she was hiding behind like the database, the computer screen of strategies that were predictable, of like, I need to do this, this, and this, and this today, and hopefully get like 2 leads a week. Not saying that they will even close. So what we did was actually unpack her natural ability to relate with people, unpack her natural empathy. We reverse engineered one of the most successful classes that has lent her the most leads, and the easiest closes on houses. And I'm like, what has happened during that class? And she's like, I was having a lot of friggin' fun. Like, I was engaging with people. They were asking me questions and I was just loving it. I felt valued. I was with a realtor where we have good banter with him. And so we were going back and forth, cracking jokes, and it was hilarious. So she's a really playful and funny person, and she naturally is an educator, right? And what had happened was she was hiding behind databases and the ways that were not showing her sexiness to the people that she wanted to, sell to. So this notion of seductive and attractiveness, I mean, it works in other industries too, meaning that what has worked for her finally was getting over the fear of being visible as herself. This was kind of like nerve-wracking for me to do on my personal page because I'm like, I'm talking about sex and dating and BDSM, like what the hell. And yeah, like at first I was like, oh, I should do it in my group. I'm like, no, you just got the intuitive hit to do it on your personal page. Fucking do it. And so anyway, like for her, she had to get over this fear of visibility as well. And what has really helped her become attractive to her leads, is actually being more of herself, is actually being the educator, is actually being more of the big deal, sexy, redheaded vixen self that she was so worried about people seeing because, oh my God, reputation. What if I don't get any sales at all? And now she's getting 6 leads per week, actually plus 3 weeks, 20 divided by 3. Yeah. Over 6 leads per week, going from 2 to 3. That's like double the leads. And what had happened, we literally just changed up her approach to put in more of the seduction magic into her lead attraction as well as her sales tactics. And she's already really proficient at what she does. So for her to close people, it's just getting people in through the door to choose her in particular. So like I said, I know that both real estate fields and the coaching and mentoring fields, even like birth doula fields, one of my clients had issues with interior designers, is how do we stand out? Like, and the biggest way to attract the man of your life is to be yourself. It's to highlight more of yourself. If you have beautiful eyes, then highlight those bitches. If you have a nice butt, then wear something tight on your butt, If you're like really hilarious and love to dance, go somewhere where you can dance, and show yourself off in front of the men who hopefully like to dance too. So it goes the same with business, with sales and attracting more leads, is to show more of yourself to people, create more of an intimate relationship. And that's how that works. So those of you that are watching, I know Lamorla has logged off. Lynn, do you have any questions? Or if you're watching the replay, if at any point you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Feel free to message me if you have any questions also about my group or my one-on-one programs. The group program is going to get you selling within like 3 weeks, literally. If you already have an audience, which most of you do, you're going to be selling within 3, maybe 4 weeks. If you're not selling by week 4, something's up. And we're going to do energy work. We're going to start getting you onto sales conversations. You're going to role play with me. I know, fun. We're going to get some really nice role playing. And it's going to be pre-recorded material, videos like these, with live calls. It's going to be really intimate, so all your questions will get answered. It's going to be freaking amazing. It's probably going to be the best investment you'll ever made. If you're not selling yet within 30 days of starting a business, then you got to talk to me. We need to have a conversation, and we need to start getting you reaching out to people and getting your seductive self more in front of people. Each one of you has their own genius. And if you are looking for more private mentorship where you do more in-depth energy work, where we do more in-depth extrapolation of your specific process to make sure that you get your clients amazing results, I do have one-on-one slots. I have 2 actually one-on-one slots available, and I work with different individuals. If you are at the beginning stages, I have a program for you. Both of them are 3 months long. I have a program for you for that one where we work on your marketing, we work on your message, we work on your energy, we work on your confidence. We definitely work on your sales and your reach outs, to leverage warm audience in your circles now, because there are people that are ready to buy. It's just knowing how to sweet talk to them. And if you have already had a business and have already done 10 to 15K months and are ready to scale in ways like my client Kira, she was making consistent 14, she's well on her way to 2025, to bring out more of these kind of seductive tendencies, then I have a program for you. And mind you, you guys, While the approaches are interlapped, there are very specific things that you need at different levels. If you are just starting and if you're not at 5 or 10K yet, then there's some weightlifting to do. If you like have not dated in a while, right? But if you've already dated and want to switch up your men, there's a little bit more of an intricate issues that happen within the business that are more holistic. So all of my programs are super holistic, mental, emotional. We create processes, we role play, energy work, and a lot of my sessions are 90 to 2 hours long, 90 minutes to 2 hours long to make sure that we get everything. So it's pretty extensive support, and to get you guys selling. The reason why I'm this dedicated to what I do is because I have spent 15K in investments without ever getting a return. And this $1,500 class will literally get you a return on your investment within 3 weeks. I've learned the spiritual side of things. I've learned the strategic side of things. I've definitely learned the sales side of things, but most of you are natural sellers if you know how to flirt and talk to people. And if you don't, then it's just practicing. Each one of you guys is going to have your own different ways of approaching people. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in comments or PM me. Or I'm going to put in my scheduling link if you want to schedule a call with me to talk about what I can do for you, or if this is even for you, or if you are interested in the group program that I'm launching on program. Okay. The one-on-one programs, okay, so the 3 months are 7K, but I do have payment plans and down payment plans to make sure that it works for you. And the one that is for people who are above 5 and 10K, that one is 10K. So, and you will get your ROI within 8 weeks on that one. Like, you will start selling high end. One of my clients started selling high end within 3 weeks. So, depending on your specific audience, etc. I do have a 6 week though. I do have a 6 week if you're interested in more of like a boost. Why don't you know what? I'd be curious to see where you're at, and I'm sure that there's your specific needs. I can make something work. If not, then if it's not at your level of investment right now to invest a big lump sum of money, the group program is going to do amazing things for you, and then you could transition into one-on-one with me. But you're going to start to create sales right away. You're going to start getting excited. You're going to start getting more confident. And by the time you do transition to one-on-one, we can do some amazing, bigger and better things. So that's what I would suggest for you. But I would also suggest PM me if you have questions, or let's go ahead and get on a call and talk about what I can do for you specifically and get to know more about your business and where you're at. If it's confidence, if it's emotion, if it's energy, if it's client attraction, if it's sales. Because each person has, like, somebody may be rocking at sales, but they suck at lead generation. Somebody may have all sorts of leads, but they can't convert them. Somebody may have a warm audience and they don't know what to deal with them. Somebody may be amazing at marketing, but like once people come up to them, they're like, oh my God, somebody actually likes me. What do I do? My boyfriend is like that with women. He's a really great flirt. And once somebody flirts back, he's just like, gah! So anyway, yeah, PM me if you are interested or if you have questions about that, or get on a call with me and we'll talk about it. And to those of you that are watching, also, if you have any questions about anything I've said in this live stream, I look forward to speaking with you. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Feel free to share it out to whoever you feel may need it and need to hear it and will benefit from it. And I will talk to all of you soon. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye.